just for fun, guys. We're just gonna do a little activity today. I can see it. I'm sure there's a lot of like color blocks laying around. Did I say caca? Él está tirando la caca en toda parte, ¿no? Okay. Entonces, we need to ask ourselves, okay, mayor, alcalde, if this is you trying to play the system or is the system playing you? I just don't know. I can't tell yet. I don't know if you're so dumb you don't know or you're just looking like the good dumb guy to do it, you know? But everyone's watching you now, so I don't know how well this is gonna go. Claiming his proposal was merely to get people's attention. As a public school teacher, Mr. Johnson said, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. That's what the class clown does, sir. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nicole Patrice. I'm here today with another dive into some city of Chicago politics and just updating you guys, letting you know if we're safe or not. We're not. So if you are here for the first time, thank you for finding me, and please make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you can get notifications when I post. And if you are back, thank you again. Please let me know that you've returned in the comments. Say hi. Let me know what's going on in your city. If you're in Chicago, let me know what you're concerned about and if you're going to show up for any of those community input sessions that we mentioned in the last episode about our Chicago Police Department and their current needs and frustrations possibly with our current administration and the state of affairs within community policing and politics, right? So without further ado, I just want to get into this. So, the worst mayor in the nation title was given to Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, which would be no surprise to any Chicagoans because. I mean, he's got a 14% approval rating the last time I checked, which is like the lowest of a mayor. I think he got it like super early too. So it's like the lowest and the earliest ever. Like, I don't think he could be worse as far as Chicago mayors are concerned. And then we're talking nationally now. Tiffany Henyard was voted like the top worst mayor by some other outlet or some newspaper recently as well. And she's in Dalton. So we're doing pretty well as far as geographically. Like we're really hitting it out of the park. We need to hit it further out of the park. Someone maybe out of the park, get someone out of the park. So yeah, Tiffany Henyard in Dalton is probably the worst, but Brandon does not want to be outdone by anyone. And so clearly he's taking up Miss Henyard on this claim. And so we had the Wall Street Journal who gave us some insight on that. On an opinion piece. Mayor Brandon Johnson is taking his city on a progressive kamikaze course. Ain't that what I said? I said that. I said it feels like you're testing us, sir, like this is some progressive experiment and you don't care if we die. You don't care if democracy or Chicago, progressivism, mayorship, mayorship. You don't care if any of that goes down with you. Mayor Brandon Johnson is taking his city on a progressive kamikaze course. I'm sorry, this is an op-ed piece from Wall Street Journal Online, published November 17th, 2024. Mayor Brandon Johnson is taking his city on a progressive kamikaze course. I think I just like saying kamikaze course. And Chicago's Democratic political establishment may be tiring of the spectacle, you think. On Thursday, the city council met in special session to block the mayor's plan to use a $300 million property tax increase to balance the city's budget. The vote was unanimous, 50-0. So is Mr. Johnson getting the message yet? Ooh, I don't like his tone, Mr. Johnson. You gonna let him talk to you like that? With the public rebuke looming, Mr. Johnson equivocated Tuesday, claiming his proposal was merely to get people's attention. As a public school teacher, Mr. Johnson said, sometimes we do things to get people's attention. That's what the class clown does, sir. And so now we have to get the attention of everyone. I've said from the very beginning, this is a proposal. I'm a collaborative man. Chicago's 50 adult aldermen, may be less amused at being compared to children. The mayor backed off the property tax because he knew he was going to lose, and he's losing often these days. Not only do I think he referred to them as children by saying he's like a school teacher and, he's in the classroom dealing with school. He said everyone's throwing a tantrum. I wish they would have quoted that in this article as well. There was like one of the press conferences or the press conference after this was voted down, and he said something like, they're throwing a little tantrum. I'm gonna find that hopefully.
Some of this you all know. I'm just going to say this. I know it's going to upset my folks in my comms team, but some of the steps and measures that are being taken, some individuals are having tantrums right now. It's time to grow up. People in Chicago don't have time for that. So I hope that answered one of your questions. How are you? Welcome back.
So in March, voters rejected a Johnson-supported referendum to increase the city's real estate transfer tax on properties valued at more than $1 million. Mr. Johnson's plan to use a high-interest loan to fund excessive contract demands from his benefactors at the Chicago Teachers Union led to the mass resignation of the Chicago School Board. Problematic, okay? Problematic. The property tax hike was a sign of desperation from a mayor who promised not to raise the levy. At the time, Mr. Johnson called property taxes the lazy form of governance, end quote, and insisted that, quote, we have to make sure we are not raising revenue off the backs of working people, end quote. But hey, it's easier now than confronting his union allies. CTU, looking at you. While pushing for the property tax, the mayor's office threatened voters with false choices. Threatening your voters with false choices. Well, that doesn't sound very progressive or democratic or collaborative even. Without the tax, the office suggested the alternative would be, quote, workforce reductions, end quote, including slashing 2,500 police, 600 fire department jobs, and subjecting residents to an army of rats. Voters would have to accept less frequent garbage collection, reductions in tree trimming, and fewer, quote, rat abatement services. Okay, so you don't want to keep your trash taken out. You want rats all over Chicago. You want all the police laid off. Okay. You want me to cut 2,500 police jobs? Jesus, how many police? It's not even that many. You want me to do this? You want me to cut the fire department? Burn, baby, burn. I know there was a great Chicago fire. Brandon's going to do it better. Okay. Burn, baby, burn. Okay. You want that? Or you want to just give me the 300 million? I was just kidding. I meant 150. God, grow up, you children. Anyway. Eek. But please, In 2023, the Chicago budget was about 17 billion, up from some 11 billion in 2019. From 2019 to 2024, the Chicago Public Schools added almost 7,000 employees, while CPS enrollment declined by more than 30,000 students. Okay. Okay. 30,000 students. That's crazy. A COVID boom in federal money was meant as a temporary relief, but has become entrenched in higher spending benchmarks. How'd that happen? Sounds like Brandon's math isn't too good. Chicago, and that's just not him, that's a lot of folks. Chicago is also confronting the rolling scandal of its underfunded pensions for government workers, and big payments are always coming due. Chicago's pension debt is now $37.2 billion, almost $2 billion more than in 2023, and the share of the city's budget going to pension payments has more than tripled to 23.2% of net appropriations from 6.8% in 2014, according to the Illinois Policy Institute. Illinois Policy Institute be on that, you know what I mean? On that rear end. All right. Chicago doesn't need higher taxes to drive away more taxpayers. It needs a mayor who isn't a wholly owned public union subsidiary. Ouch. All right. So Wall Street Journal said, we don't like you too much over here, buddy. We're done. We're done with this. We're done with this, all right? I really don't know what else to say about that. Here's who's interested. Whose interests are really served in his budget. Ooh, can I see this? Let's see, this came out November 4th. All right, and so there's another one here. This wasn't on the menu, but since I saw it, let's go ahead and do this too. Here's whose interests are really served in the mayor's 2025 budget: Crain's Chicago business. Mayor Brandon Johnson's $17.3 billion budget for 2025 says a lot, as all budgets do. It not only tells a tale of how his administration plans to spend public money during the year ahead, it also illuminates whose interests are being honored in the process. And you can be confident taxpayers are at the bottom of that particular list. I know I am. Me and Joy Behar. Johnson's budget, which next moves to the city council, relies on a $300 million property tax hike, as well as raiding the city's economic development funding to try to close a nearly $1 billion shortfall. In total, the 2025 proposal is 3% bigger than the 2024 budget. He's found more things to do. We're his pet project, guys, the kamikaze cause. As part for the kamikaze cause, as Crain's Justin Lawrence points out, Johnson's budget faces an uphill battle in a city council weary of property tax debates and increasingly hostile to the fifth floor. But by avoiding the brawl, the city unions that would inevitably ensue if real layoffs were contemplated, Johnson hopes to walk a narrow path to the 26 votes needed to gain passage. Not happening. Andrew Vasquez, I think we saw in the other video, said it's not happening. We don't have the votes because we haven't scheduled the meeting because he doesn't have the votes. Thus, the property tax hike, a reversal of a key campaign pledge, and a politically perilous remedy for a problem that could be seen coming from a mile away. Okay. I was talking about this last year. Okay. The budget deficit City Hall is now grappling with was eminently predictable, and yet the mayor and his team did little to prepare for it. To be sure, Johnson asked his department heads earlier this fall to model layoff scenarios in a theoretical bid to close the budget gap, but little of that exercise is apparently reflected in the final plan. Just for fun, guys. We're just going to do a little activity today. I can see it. I'm sure there's a lot of like color blocks laying around. Instead, The proposed budget calls for freezing empty positions, one of a budgeteer's most facile maneuvers, and one that proved especially porous at City Hall. As WBEZ reported on October 29th, the city has hired or promoted 490 employees in the 6 weeks since the mayor announced a hiring freeze in early September. Most taxpayers understand taxes in and of themselves are a fact of life, and they almost always go up. What they don't appreciate, however, is when public officials can't provide believable assurances that every dollar that comes their way is spent wisely. In the absence of such assurances, they're never happy to be asked for more. And yet, the mayor contends that to shrink headcount in any way beyond the freezes he's put in place would leave vulnerable neighborhoods in the south and west sides without the police and fire protection they deserve. We're asked to believe that there are no other choices than to raise taxes on property. And if that means homeowners and small businesses trying to get by in those very neighborhoods have to pick up the tab, well, so be it. It's tempting to say no one is really in charge on the fifth floor nowadays, but that's not entirely true. If you have to wonder whose interests are being served, who's calling the shots, wonder no more. What's driving all this is the unions who helped put Johnson and a large swath of the city council into office. The union's priorities become City Hall's priorities. And it's within this environment that truly wild things can and do happen. Things like the mass resignation of the Board of Education, followed by the hasty rollout of a slate of replacements willing to do what the mayor and his friends at the Chicago Teachers Union want. The only qualification that truly mattered in selecting these board candidates, evidently, was their willingness to jettison the CEO of Chicago Public Schools and borrow to fill a massive budget gap per the union's desires. Any other aspects of the school board appointees' bios, including, sadly, the quiet, public anti Semitic, misogynistic, and conspiratorial sentiments of Johnson's proposed school board president, Mitchell Akena Johnson, failed to receive any serious scrutiny, judging by his hurried resignation. Whether it's at Chicago Public Schools or at City Hall, we're seeing what life is like when the people who are supposed to be looking out for all of Chicago, including business owners, homeowners, and taxpayers, come to the table and take a seat on the same side as the unions. All right. So, I mean, mayor, they're on your head, sir. They are coming for you. Um, so we got, oh, this is, so yeah, so the city is too much, it's too much corruption. This was from 2023. I just want to remind y'all. You belong to the city. I just want to remind you. Sorry, I don't know how to work my things anymore. I'll figure that out on my own. I just want to remind you that Chicago is not new to the corruption, okay? And so having someone in the position that Brandon Johnson is in be this incompetent, I think, is what is throwing us off. And then the idea that you're being progressive and trying to help the very communities that you actually seemingly have no problem throwing, may I say, caca on. Dare I say caca? Él está tirando la caca en toda parte, ¿no? Okay. Entonces, we need to ask ourselves, okay, mayor, alcalde, if this is you trying to play the system or is the system playing you? I just don't know. I can't tell yet. I don't know if you're so dumb you don't know or you're just looking like the good dumb guy to do it, you know? But everyone's watching you now, so I don't know how well this is gonna go. But we had all suspicions every time this came up. 4P, Chicago ranks #1 in corruption. Report finds. This is Heather Sharoney or Sharon, November 2023. with WTTW News in the politics section, right? And so for the fourth year in a row, Chicago is America's most corrupt city, and Illinois is the third most corrupt state. I'm going to say that again. For the fourth year in a row, Chicago is America's most corrupt city of America, of all of it. And Illinois is the third most corrupt state. And I'm sure they're being generous. According to a new report from the University of Illinois at Chicago, and Illinois owns University of Illinois at Chicago. So it's a bit much, you know. A report published by even though we'll have a whole nother conversation about how UIC definitely is a lot more left leaning in a lot of respects. But this is very believable. They probably got this right. The report published by by UIC, because I'm not gonna keep saying that, right? Y'all, it's the drugs. Don't blame me. The report published by UIC Political Science Department is based on an analysis of the public corruption statistics published by the U.S. Department of Justice in 2021. Political and government-related bribery, extortion, fraud, conflicts of interest, theft of campaign funds, and tax cheating continue to undermine the public's trust in government, said Marco Rossi, who authored the report with Thomas J. Gradle. Okay. The report is the first to be issued after the retirement of former UIC professor and former 44th Ward Alderman Dick Simpson, who authored the annual report for 14 years. The report uses a formula that compares the number of each area's corruption convictions with its population to create a ranking system that incorporates data from 1976 to 2021. Sounds pretty, objective, right? The Northern District of Illinois, essentially Chicago and its suburbs, remains a hotbed of corruption, even as federal corruption convictions have declined from an average of 61 per year in the 1990s to 28.5 per year between 2010 and 2019. Wow, so they were doing better when I grew up. Promising. In 2021, there were 32 public corruption convictions in the Northern District of Illinois, which includes all of Chicago and the Northern District of in the Northern Third of Illinois. It increased from the 22 convictions recorded in 2020, according to the report. To end corruption, Illinois residents will need to elect better, more honest public officials and to press those in office to make meaningful changes, such as greater regulation of conflicts of interest, more effective campaign finance rules, greater contract transparency, and reforms to lobbying practices, Rossi wrote in the report. I mean, like, hello? Just stuff that y'all already know, but y'all just not gonna do it. Okay. Illinois should foster an anti-corruption culture rather than waiting for the Department of Justice to act, Rossi said. Many of the corruption cases detailed by the report focus on two sprawling investigations that have ensnared dozens of politicians. Oh, yes. The probe into Commonwealth Edison's ties to former House Speaker Mike Madigan's political operation and the investigation into whether elected officials accepted bribes as part of a push to install red light cameras in the suburbs. Doesn't it sound like a payday? Madigan is set to stand trial in April on 22 criminal charges as part of a sweeping indictment that alleges he led, a criminal enterprise whose purpose was to enhance his political power and financial well-being for nearly a decade. Madigan, of course, has pled not guilty. Good old Mike Madigan, Lisa, went off to the shadows because she ain't had nothing to do with it, right? And so she just wanted to make sure nobody see her, just in case. Just in case Daddy don't make it. All right. Yeah, so there's that. So we know Chicago's corrupt. And we know we have this mayor who is doing a horrible job. Is it on purpose? Is what I want to know. Let's look at this. Ah, gosh, you guys, I'm sorry. I don't want to be like this, but I have to. I have to. All right. Ooh. This is incredible. All right, so 1 second here. One of many clips. This is on the 16th and 17th District Chicago Police Scanner X, okay, profile, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter account. You know what I'm saying. Y'all, you just re-scramble the words. It's going to all make sense, okay? One of many clips of Cook County Board of Review member Samantha Steele's arrest on November 10th, okay? Steele refused to provide a license. And the Cook County Board of Review, these are the people who get people out of jail, right? Or like, decide if you get paroled or if you need to stay in there some more or whatever. Do you get a conjugal visit, or something like that, right? Do you get to go in the trans wing or whatever, special privileges and stuff, I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking that I get most of my information on what this board does from people who've been released and murdered women in our city, and then a little bit of that, and then a little bit of Orange is the New Black. It's just like a combination of those two branches of knowledge. All right, and so yeah, Steele clearly works for these folks in the jail, and I don't know if she's just picking up on what they're putting down or if this is just one of her tried and true methods here. But she refused to provide a license and insurance after hitting multiple cars and refused to get out of the car. And when she's told to get out the car, she says she's an elected official for Cook County and she does not want to be on video. She says she will wait for her attorney. Steele was eventually charged with DUI. Oh, I cannot wait. This is my first time listening to this guy, so this is going to be a treat.
She said she knows you. She said you texted her.
She's my friend.
Okay, so exit the vehicle.
No, I'm not leaving the vehicle.
Ma'am, if you don't exit the vehicle, I'm going to help you to exit. And you don't want that.
You don't want that.
I do. I actually do. Elected official of what?
Cook County.
Cook County. You elected which office? What's your name?
I'm Sam.
Sam who?
Hey, Sarge. Is it okay for a friend tells her to walk out, step out?
No, she's saying she's an elected official of Cook County.
I don't want to be on the video.
Oh, you are on video.
You are on video.
You are on video, ma'am.
Video. Yes, ma'am.
So you need
I'll wait for my attorney.
Okay.
Nope, I'm waiting for my attorney.
So she's not.
Oh my God, the cop's face when she. Bro, no way. Oh my God, no way. This is so bad. This is so bad. Okay, like I don't even know where to start. It's a body cam, ma'am. Did you miss where they have to have the body cams now? Like, isn't that like state law? Isn't that, if it's not Cook County, it's state law, ma'am? What are you doing? I don't want to be on video. Hi, I'm Sam. She thinks she's still in the bar. She's trying to pick the cop up. I'm an elected official. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. And then like the face where she kind of realizes a little bit she's fucked up, and she shouldn't have even said that. But then she immediately just goes into, they're cool.
She said she knows you. She said you texted her.
She's my friend.
Okay, so exit the vehicle.
No, I'm not leaving the vehicle.
Ma'am, if you don't exit the vehicle, I'm going to help you to exit.
You
don't want that.
You don't want that.
I
I'm
do.
an elected official.
I actually do. Elected official of what?
Cook County.
Cook County. You elected which office? What's your name?
I'm Sam.
Sam who?
Hey, Sarge. Is it okay for a friend tells her
She
to
knows
walk
she
out,
fucked up
step
right
out?
there.
No, she's saying she's an elected official of Cook County.
I
Okay?
On the
It's like,
video.
what part of Cook
You are on
County?
video.
You are on video.
You are
It
on
has
video,
to be on
ma'am.
video. Yes, ma'am.
So you need
I'll
to.
wait for my attorney.
Okay.
Nope, I'm waiting for my attorney.
So she's not a. She says
And I guarantee you she got to wait for her attorney. I promise you. I te lo prometo que ella puede esperar para su abogado, ¿ok? Ella tiene totalmente derecho, but we gotta step out the car. That's crazy. She said she's an elected official, y'all. That's wild. And yeah, so comments under the video in X, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, as you can expect here. What an ass, Julie Carpenter. I agree, Julie. LOL, this video is all the proof you need. She is spiting her worlds out bad. Okay, I don't know what he's saying exactly there, but I feel you, Jimmy. Why hasn't she resigned yet? This is as of 3 hours ago. When this happened? 10 hours ago. Yeah, I don't know. What could they possibly be doing? I mean, there is nothing that can clean this up. There is not a thing. A member of the board refuses, and that was Chicago Tom who wants to know that. Chicago Tom, I agree. Why hasn't she resigned? A member of a board of reviews refusing to follow directives. You can't make this up. I know, right? Like, that's exactly what she's supposed to do. That's her whole job. Review the laws and the board and make sure everything's good and up to par. She says, I'm not doing a goddamn thing till my lawyer gets here, even though I have admitted I am probably doing all the wrong things right now and resisting arrest. I don't know what happened prior to the video starting, but I'm sure they had very good reason to believe she was drunk before she opened her mouth, and the conversation thereafter did nothing but confirm it. I don't care, or I don't know why I care about this. Jussie just got off from a national spectacle for literally a non-reason, as it was part of agreement that charges could be brought again at any time. They let him off because usually when they aren't brought, it's for a non-reason. So what's going to happen to her? I don't get any of this. Yeah, you took Jussie out and it's like, whatever. Let's see what else we got here. Entitlement's a hell of a drug. I really want to know what she thought her attorney was gonna do. This is primetime Cook County entitled woman. Loss for thee, not for me. So yeah, I mean, there you go, guys. So this is not a surprise here in Chicago. It's just the fact that she was just so blatant, you know. So we've had, you know, all kinds of politicians drinking and driving and pulled over and things like that, of course. And then, you know, but it's the being above the law, you know, thinking that once you're caught, you're going to use your title and things like that to get you out of it is the part that we don't really like too much. This is unhinged. You know, everybody makes mistakes. It's the thinking you don't have to pay for them. CPS leader updating contract negotiation. Okay, so I will get back to, let's see. So yeah, so we need to make Chicago safe again, man, because our mayor says he's not gonna cooperate, okay, with the federal agents and the deportations and such, you know. All right, so in case you missed it, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson says officers will not assist in ICE deportation efforts. We're not cooperating with that madness. He went on to say if he were president-elect Trump, he'd call for reparations and real comprehensive immigration reform policy on day one. So let me see if I can.
One, reparations. Guess what I'll be calling for day one? Real comprehensive immigration reform policy. So families who've been waiting for we're not going to cooperate. We're not going to ask our police force to serve as ICE agents. We're not going to do that. We are working hard to restore confidence with community and policing. Why would we put police officers in a position where the community can't trust them? We're not cooperating with that madness. Here's the part that's actually really ridiculous. If I were president of the United States of America and I had absolute control over the House and the Senate and the judicial branch of government, guess what I would be calling for on day one? Reparations. Here's what I'll be calling for day one: real comprehensive immigration reform policy, so families who've been waiting for real recognition, that they don't have to wait for 20 years in hiding after establishing an.
All right, and so he's full of it. And they're clapping because they think he means, like, I don't know, black reparations for slavery or something. Because they cannot be clapping for what they think. But you heard how the claps became sparse as he continued to speak. They were like, "Oh no, he's talking about the migrants again. Damn it, not us. Not our turn. Damn it. He said he was for us. I know we're coming. Just wait behind the migrants." This man is ridiculous. So they're not going to cooperate. Let's see if I can find another clip.
Donald Trump promised mass deportations of millions of undocumented migrants. He promised to close the southern border with Mexico and to end birthright citizenship. He's also threatened to withhold funding from sanctuary states. Now, Chicago's mayor vows the city will continue to shield all migrants in spite of Trump's threats.
The incoming administration is not just a threat to Chicago, but a threat to what is sensible about this country. And as mayor of the city of Chicago, we're not going to bend or break or cower to someone's threat. We're going to stand up and unite around our shared values, and they have my assurance that I'm going to protect the families of this city.
All right, so since late 2022, more than 51 million migrants have come into Chicago, and the city has spent more than $574 million to house, feed, and care for them. So joining me now is Chicago journalist and host of the Chicago Files, William J. Kelly. William, thank you so much for your time on this. So we heard from Mayor Brandon Johnson there. How much power does Chicago's mayor really have if it does come down to a local versus federal standoff?
Chicago's a sanctuary city, but that doesn't mean that the federal government cannot send in ICE agents to remove illegal aliens, especially if they've committed crimes. They just won't have the assistance of Chicago police officers. The people of Chicago that I'm talking to, including Black and Brown people, communities, say that they feel that we've been generous enough with that they've suffered as a result, and they're hoping that Donald Trump will, in fact, reverse Chicago's sanctuary city status, and that Chicago's days as a sanctuary city are coming to an end.
Yeah, and William, as you pointed out there, I mean, being here in the city, there really are so many opinions on this topic. Now, we know that Trump's pick for border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he would recommend that federal funds be stripped from cities that don't assist with those federal immigration agents. If that happens, William, what could it mean for a sanctuary city like Chicago?
Well, as you probably know, Chicago is already a billion or more in debt. Mayor Johnson is getting pushed back at a special city council meeting today on his proposed $300 million property tax increase, which is, I called it out essentially as a migrant tax, because that's about the exact number to the penny that he's paid out to just one of the migrant vendors at the inner Chicago and some of the other, not to mention all the other migrant vendors. So this is, if Mayor Johnson thinks that he's going to push back on Donald Trump's historic mandate to close the border and secure cities like Chicago, I think he's going to find out that that's not going to work out and very well for him.
And William, there's still so many questions over, how this mass deportation would work, what it would cost. But even if Donald Trump does fail to fully enforce some of his campaign promises, what could the threat of it happening mean for the immigrant population, both legal and illegal?
Well, I think that we are living in some kind of an historic time. If you study history, you will see that there have been mass deportations at other times in history, including the United States history. Eisenhower had, I think, the most, at least up until now, the greatest mass deportation in American history. So, this is definitely something that's doable if you have a federal government, a president, and the ICE agents that are eager and willing to do it, which it appears as though that is exactly what we have in Washington now.
Mayor Johnson clearly not understanding that when you're short on the funds already because of the migrant issue, and when the election went the way that it went, and the people who voted for Trump are expecting the result that they're looking for, and when many law enforcement and the police unions and such have endorsed Trump, and most of Illinois, outside of Cook County was red. So many Chicagoans are, even if they are liberals, are also tired of wondering where the money's going, what is the end of this all going to be, how many of these people will actually end up working, and how many of these people will end up just, further a drain on the systems. And of course, the Lake and Riley case just got the conviction of Jose Ibarra, and we cannot ignore those situations wherein there are criminals in every population. And if you think that none came across that border knowing that the United States was in a moment of weakness or intentional incompetence, which is yet to be revealed for some of you, then you have to then look at that and say, hey, we need to do something. If you can't see that as the next step, dear mayor, either it's, like I said, willful ignorance or intentionally kamikaze in the city. Okay. So we have to make America great again. We have to make Chicago safe again. We had our tree lighting, and this is what we got with that.
See y'all pussies and get the fuck out. Fuck that. Fuck that. Hey, stop popping out pussies. Y'all taking names. Oh. Chill out. Nobody fighting. Y'all won't fight. What is they running?
Nothing, probably.
Hey, I got a court date in next month. Come on, bro. We can't be doing this shit.
He has a court date next month.
Hey, get the fuck back, bro.
Like, what?
Hey, get your dick on get your ass on my dick. Court, get it.
So yeah, the tree lighting was not necessarily very safe. And definitely there were some disappointed people in the crowd. I saw a video and photos of people saying like I couldn't see anything. It was very very poorly engineered as far as like how everyone was supposed to get in or around the lighting ceremony, the security protocols and things. Of course, people are going to always complain about that, but I think it was even worse because there's a lot of threats and issues going on. And then we just have a very wild city that can't get people in control and can't get the police the go ahead to get these kids out of the middle of the street, and not enough people on the street to to even and get these people in order. So speaking of that, let's look at some of those unanswered police calls, because some of y'all seem to think that we don't have an issue. I talked to, I guess you guys are just so blue MAGA to the end. Some of you are so still butthurt about Kamala. I saw a meme about Black women, saying that they're just gonna sit back and let me show y'all this real quick because y'all don't believe it. I'm sure you don't believe it till you see it. Okay, I've seen this multiple places. So this is on X. Juicy Genius, Miss Juicy Genius says whoever AI generated this believes that Black women hate their men and children so much that they'd rather watch the world burn down than to fight to protect their family. What's your interpretation of this? And so there is, for those of you who cannot see, it's an AI generated meme, I guess, of it's a city in the background. You can see red sky and smoke and fire billowing, black and gray smoke and red and orange fire on buildings and skyscrapers. And then there is one skyscraper in the forefront in which there are 5, 6, African American, 5 or 6 African American women in a profile view staring at the city burning with an American flag draped over the ledge of this skyscraper as they sit on the rooftop with their Starbucks coffees. And they're maybe they're not Starbucks. Maybe they're a Black-owned. Maybe they're in a Black-owned coffee shop who independently sources their beans. Still, while the world is on fire. Okay. One of the women has on her 92%, I guess, as a nod to them being the mass of Black women who voted in amoeba-like fashion for Kamala Harris. In their varying Black girl hairstyles. And so here, the poster is questioning, why would one post this? Oh, because it's in the zeitgeist, love. I've seen this multiple times, and I've seen this not in the context that you have so eloquently posed, in which we would ask ourselves, are Black women really this self-centered and this childish that they would give up on all of society because they couldn't have their way one time, for reasons that they can't even explain, other than they wanted to kill their children. But for some reason now, sitting back and watching the world burn is so far out of context and so unbelievable for them to want to do. But wait, you were just out here screaming about how you wanted to give your daughters the rights to kill their children, their future unborn children. And so I'm a little confused here as to why we're surprised. Black women, you've had your power, if you really want to slice it up, right, for what, all of a good 40 years, and you're already ready to quit because you couldn't get your way one good time. You couldn't get it, you got one no and you're ready to give it up. That's crazy. And your one no came from Kamala's campaign, like the half-ass monkey charade that she gave us with, like, seriously, it was not a serious campaign. And so if you're going to hang all of your laurels on that, and now you're ready to fucking jump off of a skyscraper with your, Starbucks cups, okay, and you're 92%, because God, if I'm with the masses, I've got to be right. I mean, come on. It's pathetic. But yeah, no, this isn't a surprise. I've seen this multiple times. And so, Black women, since you're so ready to just hang it up because you've tried everything you could and the world just doesn't get it, that if they don't have you, they have nothing. Oh, and everyone else is the narcissist, right? Oh my God. So yeah, so let's just try making Chicago safe again, because if, believe it or not, those children we just saw in mass running around, right? Those children we just saw in mass running around downtown unsupervised, those are Black children that I saw, most of them, and they probably have Black mothers or Black aunts and Black sisters. And so I would assume that those Black women would want to be involved and make sure that those Black children aren't getting hurt, not just sitting on a skyscraper watching those children down on the ground like little ants get squashed, okay? But yes, you sit up there. Let me show you something else. Maybe you'll come down here from your ivory tower, love. Because y'all calling the police, right? Protect Black women, right? It's protect Black women, right?
Please.
It's protect Black women, right? It's protect Black women. But you have to call the police most of the time for that to happen. Who are you calling if it's not 911? Who are you calling? You're calling your cousin, your brothers, your uncles. Okay, that's fine. How often does that happen? Because y'all out here crying about protect the one. Because is it happening or is it not? Is it happening or is it not? Don't hurt yourself. And so, you got to ask yourself, if you're calling 911, who's gonna come? Because Batman is not out there, Spiderman is not out there, and you hoes ain't Mary Jane.
Jan investigates police staffing troubles. The number of officers on the job in Chicago is at a record low.
And that's despite Mayor Brandon Johnson increasing CPD's budget and has promised to hire 200 new detectives. WGN investigative reporter Ben Bradley has found some of the mayor's claims on policing don't add up.
Looks like we got possibly a second victim here from this group of teens robbing people.
On many nights,
Citizen 17, the citywide robbery in progress with the backlog, no cars available.
calls for help can go unanswered.
That's negative. We do not have a wagon available.
On the weekends during the holidays, it's almost insurmountable. CTA, they're chasing a guy in the red lane. In the last few minutes, there was a shooting on the CTA. There was a carjacking on 79th. Very dangerous.
George Bliss has been monitoring Chicago police radio traffic since he was in high school more than 40 years ago. He created a computer program that helps him track traffic on no fewer than 16 police zones, covering 3 million city residents.
Just 10 years ago, if you were robbed on State Street, somebody took your wallet or your iPhone, the police were there right away. Not now.
Nope.
Because the backlog is so enormous.
The backlog has grown as the number of officers has shrunk. In 2018, Chicago had more than 13,200 sworn officers. Today, that number has dropped to 11,580, a decline of nearly 13%.
You had a systematic beatdown of, in general, nationwide, right, of policing, making police officers out to be the bad guys. And what that did was it made it extremely difficult to hire.
We got a lot of people detained over here.
When looters swarmed a stop freight train in mid-October, police appeared outmatched. Only 6 arrests reported, mainly misdemeanors. The train heist occurred on the border of 2 police districts that together have 170 fewer officers than they did in 2019. John Garrido is a retired CPD lieutenant who says the bad guys are keenly aware of how thin cops are stretched.
They've come to learn that we can only do so much, number one. And number two, they see a small number of officers arrive, and they know there's more of them than us. They're hoping that they're just the ones that don't get caught.
Shots fired, United Center, 1901 West Madison, says there's 4 to 8 loud reports.
When a suburban teen was robbed, shot, and killed outside a rap concert at the United Center in October, the police response was quick and forceful. But listen to what happened to other calls in the area. They go into backlog, unanswered.
And Josh Finning and 12 in the backlog. The robbery just occurred. Racing and Grand, battery in progress. Fulton and Damon had a mental health disturbance. Madison and Hoyne, domestic battery. North Wolcott had a criminal damage property in progress. 122 West Randolph also coming out as a disturbance. Battery in progress. 1633 West Madison got a mental health disturbance. 2045 West Jackson, auto accident, property damage. 1622 West Jackson got an EMS ticket. 1314 South Troop, battery victim injured. 1330 South Troop. Had an assault in progress, 1900 South Troop.
It's already going to be taxing on the district to respond to something like that in general. But then when you add to it the shortage, so we're not able to put up rapid response cars, we're not able to have these extra cars out there to cover that gap there.
A city inspector general's report last year found tracking response times is tricky. That's because nearly half the calls to 911 for police response did not include information with an officer's actual arrival time at the scene.
We cannot improve what we cannot measure. There's not enough data to know how long response times really are.
Amidst a city budget crisis, WGN Investigates has learned the Police Training Academy is not holding classes for new recruits in October or November, but one is scheduled for December. You may remember the campaign promise from Mayor Brandon Johnson.
We need 200 more detectives because we have to solve crime. One of the greatest deterrents to crime is to make sure we're catching people. And that's why on day one, we're going to move towards promoting and hiring 200 more detectives.
Fast forward a year and a half into his administration.
We will get to 200 detectives by the end of this year. I made that promise.
He better hurry. City data show there were 1,102 detectives the month he took office. Now there are just 2 more.
There's a lot going on in the city, that's for sure.
For Scanner Hawk George Bliss, the slow response leads to a sense of insecurity.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Chicagoan like you. I was involved in this city politically and economically and donating to charities as long as my family can remember. And I'm considering moving. My wife takes the train to work every day. I'm worried. I'm worried.
Those are all jobs 10 and 11 in a backlog.
We all are.
City Hall and the police department point out that murders and shootings are down to their lowest level since 2019, while homicide clearance rates are up. As for the number of detectives, the mayor's spokesperson responding to our reporting with a bit of wordsmithing. She said there will be 200 new detectives by the end of this year, so promise fulfilled. But of course, that ignores the fact that given attrition, there aren't 200 more detectives, as Brandon Johnson promised during the campaign. Ben Bradley, WGN Investigates.
Child, I mean, the math's not mathing, sir. You said you could do math. You were a school teacher. I just don't know. I don't know what we're supposed to do, Mayor. So yeah, people not getting calls answered. People want to leave Chicago. That's less taxpayers. That's less money. You want to build a community around the migrants who don't pay taxes. I don't understand the math, star. I want to know where the economics are. What is the foundation of your, what is it? It sounds like communism. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot going on. You got off-duty cops being shot at, and they, it's so bad that cops can't even go to sleep and take a nap. They can't even take breaks. They can't go eat their sandwich. Every time I look up now, it's an off-duty cop getting hurt trying to save somebody on the street. What is going on? They can't even get their off days.
Good afternoon. Great to have you with us. I'm Joe Donlin.
And I'm Erica Sargent. Now to more breaking news. An off-duty Chicago police officer shot and a woman stabbed on the northwest side.
Our Darius Johnson is live at the scene in Portage Park with new details about what happened. Darius?
Joe and Erica, good evening to you both. Right now, police have been focusing their investigation at the home here in the 5600 block of Leland Avenue. If you take a look over my shoulder, you can still see that police activity. I can tell you a neighbor told me off camera that he saw a police officer who loves running throughout this neighborhood be put into the back of an ambulance. Take a listen at what we heard over police scanner not too long ago.
She was stabbed. Off-duty migrant shot. Well, it's over with. We got him here. The officer is injured. We get the ambulance here. Get the notifications going. The MSI and all the other detectives. And if you do put out a plate, put out that plate as soon as possible. Shots were fired by him.
Office of Police Accountability.
What we know right now is a woman was stabbed and an off-duty Chicago police officer was shot. That woman was taken to Resurrection Hospital in extremely critical condition. She later died. The man, the off-duty officer, was taken to Lutheran General in good condition. What we know right now is that the initial call came in was for a person shot. However, it's still unclear exactly what unfolded or how things unfolded. Several neighbors tell us off camera that they heard 5 to 6 gunshots before hearing police sirens and seeing police lights take over Leland Avenue.
Okay, and so ultimately, I think this man was found later. I think at the time of this video, he had not been found, and then he'd been found later. Had self-inflicted gun, by self-inflicted gun shot in a vehicle like near the scene. So yeah, this cop was just, I think this is the one where he's telling us what happened. I found it.
Now a story that's been breaking all evening. A suspect has been found dead after a deadly incident in Portage Park earlier this afternoon. A woman was fatally stabbed and an off-duty Chicago police officer shot and injured trying to intervene. Emergency workers were called to the scene in the 5600 block of West Leland Avenue. NBC5's JC Navarrete has been on the story all day. He joins us live at the 16th Police District tonight. He's been piecing together what happened. JC?
Allison and Stefan, good evening. Just like you said, we've been following this story since about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we got our latest development. That, of course, is the suspect was found dead not too far from where we're standing. Now, neighbors tell us they're shocked. Any of this could have happened in broad daylight.
I heard her scream, and then I heard the gunshots. That's when, like, my heart sank. It was a blood-curdling, heart-dropping type of scream.
Thomas walking me through what he saw and heard Tuesday afternoon. His porch less than 10 feet away from where a woman was stabbed to death. A neighbor who's an off-duty detective suffering a graze wound in the process.
I couldn't tell what caused his wound, but you could tell that he was impaired on his leg, and you could see blood dripping down his leg onto the sidewalk.
I saw when they were transporting him in the middle of the street with the sidewalk to the ambulance, and I could recognize his face, that he's my neighbor. So
that off-duty detective saw the stabbing and tried to help the woman out, firing his gun at the suspect before he wound up with a graze on his leg. A neighbor tells me he heard 5 shots and a woman yelling, asking for someone to call 911. The attack happened just before 2:25 on the 5600 block of West Leland. Law enforcement officials tell NBC5 the violence stemmed from a domestic issue. However, we don't know how the victim knew the aggressor. Tonight, we learned the aggressor was found dead inside of a vehicle less than 1,000 feet away from where the stabbing happened. A point of concern tonight, where this all went down. Less than a block away, an elementary school. And just feet away, a daycare.
Shot. And she's ready for war. She's got on her war paint, I guess. I don't know, but it's Chicago, man. Yeah, you know, we're not really shocked because who's supposed to save us? Who's supposed to stop the criminals? Everyone's defending the criminals. Everyone's making excuses for them. Oh my gosh. I just want to show it to you because I don't think people understand like what the hell police actually be looking at like when they're outside. Like y'all out here acting like this stuff is they're getting shot at all the time. Like nobody takes being the police like respectfully or seriously. Yeah, it's violent. I know, that's why I'm here. I was like, where's this?
Oh! Hey, drop it! Drop it! Shots fired! Shots fired! Drop the gun! Drop the fucking gun! Stop! He's trying to fucking shoot you, bitch! He's trying to fucking shoot you! Stop! Hey, motherfucker! Stop! Stop! Hey! Motherfucker, stop! Hey, motherfucker, shoot you, bitch! You're trying to fucking head! You're going right! You're going right! You're going right! Get down! Get down! Hold down! Hold down, bitch! Get down! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired by police!
I feel like I know exactly what neighborhood it is.
Let the gun go! Let the fucking gun go! Let it go! Let it go! Let it go! Let it go!
Yeah.
First place in Shire!
I knew where I was.
Let the gun go! Let the fucking gun! Fuck off, bitch! Dry stun! Dry stun! Dry stun! Zero. Let the fucking gun go, bitch! Put the fucking gun down! Hey, drop the fucking gun! Taser!
So they're not supposed
to.
So at this point, they're not supposed to. You see what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, why you won't just let the gun go? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. I can't. Like, I can't. Ugh.
I'm telling you.
Let you. Gotta have a gun.
Put him in cuffs right now. Weapon recovered. No, get the fuck back! Get the fuck back! No.
And y'all will be like, oh my God, he didn't have to punch him in the face like that. Yes, the hell he did. He's still holding the damn gun. Like, this is insane. Like, you got a gun and these people, it's like 6 people around you with guns and you won't drop yours? At this point.
Get back, I got the gun. You worried about the wrong shit. Give me a fucking hand. Fucking hand.
Let us know if we can slow it down.
Fucking bitch ass motherfucker. So what? Get the fuck back. Give me a fucking hand. Give me a fucking hand, bitch. You wanna fucking shoot at me, bitch? Give me a fucking hand. Give me a fucking hand. I got his hand right here. Give me time. Give me time. Give me time. Give me time. Hey. Over there.
Okay, so the first place is viral. We have several place in viral.
Don't fucking move, motherfucker! You and me, you fucking pussy! Fuck you! Remember the hand one.
Alright, and this is for boy and is this related to the person with a gun car that you guys are already on?
Give me your hand! Hand! Fucking hand, dude! Wait, no, you don't have it! Y'all have it! No. Just bags of weed. Over some weed, you did that shit, man? A gun, fucking dumb motherfucker. You fucking pussy. Fuck you. Well, we sure clip him so I can check.
Alright, we got a person shot. 717. 364.
Get him up! Get the fuck up!
All that over some weed.
Chill. Chill.
Alright, so this car got a fire for the ambulance. We got a person shot.
Is anybody shot?
Give us the first citywide. We got a person shot. 71st place and fire.
You pointed your gun at us. Multiple fucking times. Anybody shot over there?
Yeah, boy.
He let a round off at me. Multiple times. Fuck you, bitch.
130. Get the streaming up right now.
Get him up. Get the fuck up. Get the fuck up. Relax. We got him.
Everyone from recovery 24 hours.
So I just wanted y'all to see like this stuff that they be.
Drop the gun! Drop the fucking gun! Stop! He's not fucking shoot you, bitch! He's not fucking shoot you! Stop! Stop! Motherfucker, stop! He's not fucking shoot you, bitch! He's not fucking shoot you! He's gonna rise! He's gonna take you out! Get down! Shots fired! Shots fired, but please! Let the gun go! Let the fucking gun go! Let it go! Let it go! Let it go!
Big boy, real bad. Y'all know nothing made that big boy run like that. So yeah, it's yeah, I know exactly where that is. It's always over there. Okay, 71st, I think this was in Jeffrey. So yeah, it's a tough city to police in for sure. Chicago police deserve so much more respect than what they're getting. Because y'all not gonna do this. Y'all don't even want to talk to half these people, and they're your cousins and uncles, and you know what I'm saying? And you want them to go out there and be like super nice to them while they're shooting at them and resisting arrest. It's insane. Like, so I commend them for going and running into that day in and day out. There's plenty of footage like that if you pull up a myriad of the websites and the trackers and scanners. But we need to start looking at the policing in a more realistic way. We can't just sit on skyscrapers and look down at the city burn below us. Black women, white women, whoever you are. We need to fight for the city because our mayor isn't. And it's in peril. Like, if you can't see that from the waves of crime and the people, there was a doctor who was just killed in, I know it was a domestic or something they said, but that just happened. in like Barrington. So it's a suburb, but still, it's just, but the point is that there's so much violence and people who never thought they'd be touched by violence that are being touched by violence now, and neighborhoods that people thought were once safe are no longer. There's something that happened, like there was a shooting. I wanted to pull that one. Let me pull that one up real quick.
Good morning, guys. Well, we're learning that no officers were injured and no officers fired at the suspects, but this remains a very active investigation here near the intersection of Wilson and Kilpatrick, or right off the Edens Expressway, as Brett mentioned. The focus of the investigation is a white four-door vehicle. You see the doors open. Officers have been going in and out of that car. Now, this happened shortly after 2 a.m., where police say officers on patrol saw a parked car that matched the description of a vehicle involved in an earlier incident where a male suspect was armed. Police say officers approached the parked car and several male suspects exited the vehicle running away. Police say one of the arresting officers had to take cover after hearing multiple shots fired. This was near the 4600 block of North Kilpatrick. Again, this area has been blocked off as police continue to collect evidence. Again, no officers were injured and none of them shot at.
Judy, the retired sergeant is 74 years old. He was taken to Illinois Masonic in critical condition. The motive of the shooting is unknown, but police have been on the scene all day long as they are looking for a second suspect.
Person shot, Lincoln Berto and Lincoln, 3 to 4 gunshots. See a man laying on the ground outside of Moon Jeep Cherokee.
The burgundy Cherokee Jeep belongs to a 74-year-old retired Chicago police sergeant who lives in the vicinity of this relatively busy North Center intersection. Just after 9 a.m., he was shot at least 3 times.
And you knew it was gunshots because it went boom, 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 and I looked out the window to see what was going on.
Some residents saw 2 men fleeing the scene on foot, although one suspect did not get too far. The CPD SWAT team was brought in. About 2 hours after the shooting, one suspect is seen on this exclusive video being escorted out of a Lincoln Avenue storefront and taken into custody, just a few feet from where the retired sergeant was shot. What motivated the shooting is still unknown.
I've spoken with CPD multiple times throughout the day. The investigation is continuing. Right now, they don't have any motive or know whether it was interpersonal.
Okay, and so no motive. It was near school, very quiet neighborhood. Again, what is going on? Some people were shot at Navy Pier not too long ago, or there was a shooting up there at Navy Pier. Yeah, and then there is
a warning about robbers targeting senior citizens in Chinatown.
5 attacks in 5 days. Asal Rasai is live outside a Chinatown apartment building where residents are on high alert. Asal.
Yeah, Jim Marie, neighbors tell me one of the suspects rides around this area on a Divvy bike, robbing senior citizens. This apartment complex captured him multiple.
The Divvy bike crimes need to be a special fucking units. Like, they need to do a Divvy bike SVU, like how many crimes were done on Divvy bikes? Because I swear there's got to be like a conflict of interest there. Like, I'm paying taxes and I'm getting robbed I'm literally getting robbed by the city. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at these people. I'm laughing at the irony of how fucked up this is.
Multiple times on surveillance video. This video shows inside the back entrance last week. You can see him walking in with a Divvy bike. He's wearing a blue cap with a yellow logo and appears to turn his face away from the camera. You see him again in this video just a few days later on Tuesday in the back parking lot of the same complex, same blue cap and yellow logo, as he follows a man with a walker. A different angle shows the victim falling down before a brief struggle. Then the suspect goes out of frame. The Chinatown elderly.
Going to Chinatown and beat up on elderly people is just so crazy to me. Like, I can't even fathom. First of all, I watch too many Kung Fu movies for me to even allow that to become a thought, because I'm like, it's gonna be that one OG that's gonna come and hit me with the tiger strike. Like, I'm not even playing over. I could never. What? Asian elderly people are the most to be effed with people in my mind. Like, why are you doing this? Leave them people alone. They just trying to do their qigong and go eat their vegetables. This is terrible. Chicago, why?
The apartment complex has these pictures posted in their lobby bulletin board, the time and place matching a part of the community alert from 9th District Chicago Police. Police warning residents 2 men and a woman are pulling a knife on senior citizens or spraying them with mace before taking their belongings. They say the robberies happened near Princeton and 23rd Place 3 times between November 15th and 20th, along with 2 other locations within blocks of here. 11th Ward Alderwoman Nicole Lee says seeing elderly people attacked in her community is beyond upsetting.
My message to the community really is we have to be vigilant. We want to make sure that our loved ones, especially the seniors, aren't really walking around by themselves, that we look out for one another.
So yeah, dude, bro, stop it. Stop messing with the darn seniors, okay? Especially not over there. Like, what are you doing? Not saying don't mess with any of the seniors anywhere, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Like, I just hate it. Like, that is some real, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we've emboldened. If you've gathered nothing from this video today, we've emboldened the incompetent. We've emboldened the corrupt. We've emboldened the delinquent. We've emboldened the aimless. When does it stop? Who stops that? Right? So you have all this time of unchecked, egocentric, self-pleasuring ignorance of the realities and the cold hard truths of life in the city, and then you have to eventually get hit with that reality, and now you either are going to double down on your stance and be a complete idiot or you're going to open your eyes and see that maybe you need to make some adjustments so that you and the rest of your neighbors, okay, in the city can live and work together, okay? So that's all I got for you today. I hope you guys stay safe out there. Happy Thanksgiving. Watch your back. Protect your neighbors and yourselves. And make sure, again, that you're going to those community input sessions so that the city has a plethora of information and input from us, because we are ultimately the ones who are going to suffer. We want our events back. We want to be able to go to tree lightings and Navy Pier and, skating rinks and Six Flags and whatever else. Like, we want to be able to do the festivals and not worry about all these things. I was talking to one of my friends when we were discussing, the election and our choices and why we want certain things. And this person had mentioned that, they're more worried about white, domestic male terrorists than anyone else. But when I pointed out that when you walk outside of your neighborhood, generally your fear is not that person. It's more so, right? That's just a marginalized fear. Your most prevalent day-to-day fear is from that of those in your neighborhood who may or may not look just like you, who are maybe doing crimes out of necessity and poverty, but they are not doing the most honorable things that they could do to get out of that situation. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you're robbing seniors, if you are robbing women and children, if you're scamming and lying to seniors and, scamming the public, especially poor fellow poors, if you're scamming your fellow poors, okay, you need to think. You need to think why you're doing this. How long is this going to benefit you? And what will it look like in the end at the end of this all? If you are scamming your taxpayers and your fellow citizens at the will of the CTU and ignoring your police department and their cries for help while your city burns. 1871. Wait, what year was that? What year was the fire? Chicago fire. While your city burns, great Chicago fire style. Okay, you find the year. You're the teacher. You're the social studies. Not talking to anyone in particular. But if that is the message that you took from this, tomorrow can be brighter if we all work together. And if you like, share, and subscribe to my channel, let me know your thoughts below. I saw another page, or I saw actually a mainstream news article say, who do we want next for mayor? I was like, uh-oh. We're doing this. We're getting ready. Let's make our decisions, guys. But first, we got to make sure we give Brandon Johnson some feedback at the community input sessions so that we can know where to move the city so that we can be safer. Because clearly we're at a crossroads and the city is circling the drain, and we don't want to go, y'all. We love it, we love the city, and we don't want this man to ruin it, So let's try to give him some real help, and maybe he'll work with us, guys. We gotta negotiate with the terrorists right now, okay? Because it's the only choice we have. But at this point, recall options, please. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on this wacky evening. I apologize. I'm a little loopy. But we made it, and I thank you again. Thanks for being here, subscribing, liking, and sharing. And let me hear what you guys got to say about any of this down below, and we'll talk. Bye. So this one also is a World Star. No, it's not. It's Craig's. It's Crain's. Help me. I'm sorry, y'all. The drugs have all kicked in. We're gonna make it. Here's who's interested in. Oh my God, Brandon. Oh